Kevin, on today's Which Word of the Day, I'll send you the spelling. I've been on a journey. I'll talk more about the journey on manor keeping, but I'm finding out so much, and I felt so stupid for not realizing all this earlier. But today's word is Hermes Trismegistus.
I love that.
Trismegistus.
It's so sexy. Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to read this because this is a lot of stuff. So, Hermes Trismegistus, also known as Hermes the Thrice Great, is a legendary figure, a syncretic combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. He is considered a legendary author of Hermetica, a diverse body of ancient and medieval texts that form the basis of Hermeticism. Hermes Trismegistus is revered as a master of wisdom, science, and magic, and is associated with the concept of thrice greatest. So it's almost like the Holy Trinity for magic witches.
Oh my gosh. I think we had the word hermetic as a former Which Word of the Day, I think at one point in time. So it's like linked together. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
Can you hear the words of the witches? Yeah, the words of the witches.
Welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published lore of the Charmed universe.
In this night and in this hour, we call upon our fanboy power, bringing education and stupefaction to all of you.
Together, we will use our knowledge and reverence abundantly, but also find ourselves sassy and delightful.
Which is why we will truly be charmed.
Okay, so that one, hi, I am Kevin, your resident Charmed resource.
And I'm Sean, and I'm just happy to be here.
Amazing. This is Words of the Witches, episode 151. Today we'll be covering Charmed Magazine, issue 7. We have no guest today, so surprise, surprise, just us, you the OGs. Woo! So, the poll last week, because it was the 150th episode, I asked audiences, spell worders, what their favorite season of the podcast was.
Comics.
Ours was comics. How do you think the masses have spoken?
I think most people like the comics because I think that's an exciting thing for everybody. We get to get more story. Plus, we had so many cool guests during the comics.
We did. Do you think there's any season that got 0 votes?
Oh, well, now I feel like there must be because you're asking. This is the Kamala votes where she got 0 in certain places. I'll say this season.
Okay. So, I posted this poll on Instagram and on YouTube, and the results are quite different from each other, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
So, Instagram, season 3 guidebooks got 11%. Season 4, this season magazines got 17%. Season 1 novels got 33%, and then the comics won at 39%. On YouTube, yeah, that's pretty good. So comics, but only by a little. And then YouTube, season 4 magazines got 0%, which is weird because that's where all the videos are for this season.
Yeah,
so 0 votes for magazines. Then we got season 3 guidebooks at 18%, season 2 comics at 27%, and season 1 novels at 55%.
Wow. Go
you. Very interesting. Yeah. I got a comment on the YouTube that said that she is currently reading the books, and every time she reads a book, she comes to the podcast to listen to the episode on the book, which is pretty fun because that's what I was hoping if people had the books.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I was trying to do, but it was a lot for me at the time. I do want to get back to the books one day.
Cool. So that's it for the poll. let's get into manor keeping.
Yes.
You can't just vanquish an entire house, especially not our house. People are gonna notice.
Manor keeping.
Well, the problem isn't the manor. It's the manner in which it was treated.
A good witch is a clean witch.
Yes, Sean has some stuff. Before Sean says his stuff, I want to talk about one thing from last week. One just general observation. I talked about how, like, Kerr Smith, he's like, between Final Destination and Charmed, he looks exactly the same. And then I thought about it. It was only like 5-6 years between the two. So I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like once you hit like 25 to like 35, 40, like there's not a lot of change. Like you kind of just
Right.
look the same for a while.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, I guess it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, talk about your journey.
So, well, first off, you like this, and I think our BFF of the fan, Phoenix Arcana Lightwood, I think is part of this group too. I found a group on Facebook called Gay and Bi Witches that I joined.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it got me back into like the witchy mode, and I feel kind of stupid for this. I'm a little blonde, and I'm sorry. I know some of the listeners probably already know this, but I'm just gonna go over my discovery. So I started to wonder because I love Hermes, the god. I've always loved him. One of my Labubus is named after him. Like when I
Yes.
was in Paris with Alan when we went to the Louvre. I like got so excited. There's so many Hermes statues. He'd make fun of me because I'd get so excited. There's like a whole room. And so I started wondering. I was like, I wonder if anybody worships Hermes. And then as I was looking up stuff, I came across the word Hermetica, which I've seen a million times because on Once Upon a Cult we, covered Golden Dawn. So it Golden dawned on me that like Hermes is like this god that a lot of
makes
witches.
sense.
Yeah. So Hermeticism is actually based on the magic of Hermes, and that's what a lot of Western magic, including Golden Dawn, which we look towards for a lot of our information on magic, is based off of. So I've kind of started working with Hermes. If you don't know, he is the protector of human heralds, travelers, thieves, merchants, and orators, and he is known to like be really into like commerce, travel. He's also very like bisexual. He's slept with a lot of men in his depictions, and it's been a fun journey because I read that he is very into the number 4. So a lot of times when you like pray to him, you want to do like 4 coins or 4 prayers or 4 lines of poetry. And I think it's funny because that coincides with my birthday, 4/22, which 4 and then 2/2 is 4.
Yeah.
Also, like, I've always been a very fast walker, which makes me think of Hermes. Like, it's just kind of an
Those little
awakening.
wings on his shoes.
Yeah, and I
Wings on his
love
feet.
Namor with his wings on his feet, too. So
Yeah.
it's kind of an awakening. I think I've been drawn to Hermes, like, all my life and just not really realized it. So it's a start of a new journey
Nice.
for me.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
This hotel chair was trying to attack me, but
Yeah.
yeah. So people might have noticed that I am in a change of scenery, and that's because I'm in Atlanta for work. So here you get to enjoy the hotel view. Surprise! If you're watching this on video, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that beautiful, relationship. So today we are talking about Charmed magazine number 7. It says Paige Turner, and I get why they put that because it's like a Paige Turner, but I just think of like Cole Turner and Paige together. I'm like, this doesn't. This. I'm
true.
like offended. But yeah, that's this magazine. Because we didn't get the correct date last issue, I'm going to guess this came out late September 2005, but I don't know the exact date. Probably in the 20s, like 23rd or something. So, and then it has the editor was, as usual, Kate Lloyd, and we had designers Caroline Grimshaw, Emily Norris, Marcus Scudamore, and Oz Brown. So 3 of those are brand new this issue. Only Emily Norris was an editor, designer before that.
Yeah.
And then we have writers Kate Anderson, Phyllis Ungerleider, David Walden, and Ian Spelling. Does that name sound familiar to you at all?
The Ungerleider? Yeah, she wrote in something
Yes.
else.
Yeah, she was one of the writers in the Book of Three, Volume 2. And we always wondered where she came from.
Yes.
It was from the
okay.
magazine.
Oh.
So it's so funny just to make that connection now.
Fun. Look at all these
Yeah,
connections
so you
this
got some-
episode.
I know. Full circle. Oh. So, this issue also marks the beginning of the second year of Charmed magazine, because they do about 6 issues per year. So this is kind of like a brand new season in a way. And I did kind of notice that when I was going through this, there seemed to be like a little shift in tone in places. Might also be because there's a whole bunch of new designers and there's the new writer on here. So it's interesting.
It had better formatting than some of the other ones.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun to notice that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So today we will be talking about Rose McGowan, Kiss and Spell, The Incredible Adventures of Tapeball. Oh, Brian Krause, Prince Charming. So finally, the one they teased about. We are going to take a personality quiz this time. Me and Sean are going to take a quiz called Which Witch and find out which of the Halliwell line we are. And I actually skipped through that because I knew we would take it together, so I didn't even look at it, which was fun. Levar, Burton, and John Delancey to Boldly Ghost. We get an interview with them. We have the top 10 Charmed Vanquishes. And then we have some news, as usual. We have Barbas. We have Make Your Own Book of Shadows, finally. So we got some of those pages.
Barbas.
Barbas. They just keep bringing them back.
Yep.
It's like on the show, Barbara. He just keeps coming back. We have our first location segment this issue, and Ask Brad and Show and Spell. So lots of fun stuff.
Yeah. All right. Charmed news. So we get a little blurb about season 8. It's filming. The first episode of the season was still charmed and kicking, talking about how Brad Kern says it's scheduled to air on Sunday, September 25th at 8 p.m. And he kind of says this a few times, but I guess he doesn't say it here. I thought he did. That it's tricky to bring the girls back since, like, they're dead. They're dead to the world. How do they get out of this one?
Because Victor's mourning the loss, but they aren't really dead. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. And it teases a look at, like, Janice Dickinson coming in. It teases they're talking to Graham. So a couple little teases there. And then
oh my gosh, do you remember? I just thought about something. They had Janice Dickinson on Shannon Doherty's podcast, Let's Be Clear, after she passed.
Oh, yeah.
And she was saying, she's like, oh my gosh, I loved working with Shannon. I'm like, bitch, you didn't even see her. I was so offended.
I know. Oh, I had a moment too, because somebody who listened to Marvelous Galaxy of Disney, I become friends with her, and she invited me to Palm Springs this last weekend, and I said, Kevin and I have an interview with one of the Charmed actors, and she said, oh my god, is it Shannon Doherty? And I said, I don't think you've heard
Where
the
have
news.
you been?
Yeah, and then she's like, oh wait, I think I did know that. And I was like, okay. But I didn't tell them who or when it might be happening.
Yeah, and our spell worders don't even know. It's a secret.
I know, I'm keeping it a secret.
But something is on the horizon. There's a little tease for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this first segment also talks about co-executive producer Jim Conway. He's married to Elise, right? Or he was married to Elise?
Mm-hmm. Rebecca Balding,
okay.
Yeah,
Rebecca Balding. So he talks about coming back to Charmed because he always gets to do direct the first episode. So they asked him, like, does this feel different? And he's like, no, not really. Like, he's been doing it every year. Some of these questions are funny to me.
I know. Like, why do you ask these questions? They're so weird.
Yeah. And why do you ask, I guess I'm jumping ahead, but why do you ask Rose McGowan what her favorite episode of Charmed is if you're working on this magazine? And you should know she answered it 4 times 2 magazines ago.
Yep. Just in case you missed it.
Yep, just in case. So he also talks about like coming back to season 8, how season 7 was designed to either be the season ender or the series ender. And so he talks this is where I read it. He talks about it being tricky getting out of the trap that they made for the girls, but he's excited for Billy to come in, working with Kaylee Cuoco. I did think this last little part on this page is funny. It talks about Mark McGrath will not star in Charmed. And when I looked at the picture, I'm like, why does Mark McGrath look so different? Oh, because it's not him.
Yeah, they just put him there to be like, hey, Derek
Yeah.
Johansson will
There's
direct an
Derek
episode this
Johansson.
year.
Yeah,
Cool.
we had the rights
Why
to his
put it
picture,
there?
not Mark McGrath, so we threw him there instead.
It's so strange. It's so
Yeah.
strange. They needed some big buddy there, so they put. And I'm guessing they probably intended for Mark McGrath to go there, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, what do we do?"
Yeah, just mention Derek somewhere in there and throw his picture.
Yeah.
So then on the next page, it talks about new faces, same old problems. This is talking about Kaylee Cuoco and Jason Lewis joining Charmed. So again, it talks about the sisters are dead, so how do we get out of this? So it's talking about how Kaylee Cuoco signed on for 22 episodes to play Billy and help with the sisters as like a protege. And then it's talking about Jason Lewis, best known as Smith Gerard on Sex and the City, where he was dating Carrie. He was very young for her. I remember that. And Sex and the City's back on, but I've heard it's terrible, but I want to watch it because it's supposed to be really campy. But so let's see. What was the question they asked? Oh, so Jason Lewis, best known as Smith, also joined Charmed in the recurring role of Dex Lewis, the hunk who steals Phoebe's heart.
Lawson.
And then we get this.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, Lawson.
Dex Lawson.
To quote one of my writers, Jason's the sexiest guy on television. Enough said, said Brad Kern. Fuck you.
So I'm like, so that's the reason he was cast. He's like, who else can we
Yeah.
get? This guy's sick. And I really don't think he is. I'm like, okay,
Neither do I.
like, he's okay.
Yeah.
He
Like,
looks a little like dumb. He looks like he's like dead behind the eyes, so I didn't really get it.
yeah, I feel exactly the same. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say no, but I
Yeah.
don't think I think if it were a fuck, marry, kill situation, it would be a fuck. Like, because I don't know. I don't know that I would gel with him.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to kill him. He's too pretty.
No.
All right, we get a little more about Eilish. So apparently Eilish was leaving to be with her family. I wonder too if this was just her jumping ship early to like get onto a new project sooner. You know how sometimes people
Right,
do
because
that?
because she knew this was going to be the end, so she's trying to like plan ahead. She's like, I better start looking for a new job if this is going to be the end of it, and she's probably just starting early, you know, because she didn't stop. I mean, she may have taken some time off, but she really jumped into Marvel pretty early after this. Like I think 2007, 2008, she was working on Marvel.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. I wonder, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe she tried to like retire and spend time with the family, but she's like, I'm bored. I want to dress people again.
right.
So, and Daniela
Wishwinder,
a key costume designer on the show for several years, took over for her.
Yeah, because she
And
was
then we
that
get-
Danielle girl. I think Daniela. She was on the show as like an assistant customer since season 1, so she's been actually on longer than Eilish, because Eilish didn't come on
Wow.
until season 2. So it makes sense why she took over.
Okay. I feel like they didn't do Eilish any favors here because I'm pretty sure they just used the same exact picture of her. So now it just looks like she just always wears that same top. Like that's all she wears.
There she is. How beautiful.
There she is.
Our eyelash.
She's so cute. She gives me very Ben de la Creme vibes. I think we said that on
I
the other
totally
one.
get that. I want Ben de la Creme to. I mean, no one would get her if she did Snatch Game, but it'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Just put on the Irish accent, and you know, like it'd be great.
Yeah. We would get it. We would laugh.
Yeah.
Let's see. And this last little section. So I'll just give highlights because it was kind of hard to read. It was kind of blurry for
There's a
some
lot.
of like the lesser known. And there's a lot. So this kind of talks about what they were doing in between filming. So let's see.
I'm just gonna tell you what I wrote because we don't have to talk about it.
Okay.
All I put was that the second day of shooting, the premiere, Still Charmed to Kickin', was hot as balls. So I guess there were fans everywhere. It was super hot. And then they told us what the whole crew did on break. But for me, it was kind of boring to hear about the everyday lives of people that I didn't know. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know them. I don't need to know this. Like, the
Yeah.
barbecues and their kids are doing stuff. Like, okay, yeah, this is not interesting to me.
And then even the sisters, like, they're up to just what you would expect. Like, Alyssa was very into UNICEF, and then Holly was very into being a new mother. Like, exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah. I did want to read the little blurb here on page 8 with what Brad Kern said. It says, watch out for a new brand of demon this season. They're younger, hipper, trendier, and seductively attractive. They will fight each other for dominance now that the previous generation's leaders, such as the Source and Zanku, no longer provide a centralized base of evil. Stay tuned. So, in other words, we have no money, so we're just gonna have people who are pretty
Throw
to
hot
look
people
at.
at you.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna be doing Kiss and Spell. This is another interview with Rose McGowan. I thought this was so funny to me. This interview cracked me up a lot because it was mostly about like who is Rose McGowan kissing and what all that stuff. Our Charmed magazine interviewed Rose McGowan during her UK tour. Last issue, we saw that there was a picture of her looking at the magazine. Apparently, they showed her issue 4 of the magazine, and they also had an exclusive photo shoot with her. So the pictures that they have in here are ones that Charmed magazine took themselves. That's why I've never seen them anywhere else besides this magazine. So these are kind of rare pictures. Rose said that she looked at her picture in season 4 from the issue 4 magazine. She's like, oh my gosh, I would never wear that now, because now I have a say in what I wear. And back then I would put on whatever idiotic thing they'd make me wear. So
She's always so shy with her opinions.
yeah. You also had like someone say that they did a Alyssa Milano impression, I think, for the 150th celebration issue. I think that was 4 too. And she said that Jeff Angelo doing I think this is a different person, so it may have been more than one person involved. But Jeff Angelo's story about the Alyssa Milano impression, we now know that incorporated fake breasts in that impression.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay. He thought he was going to
funny.
get fired, but they just laughed. Yeah. They talked about like if she's ever been sued before. And she's like, I've only been sued once because this crazy lady told me all about, she told all the money men of this movie that Rose was going to do the movie without telling Rose McGowan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the woman cast her in the movie based on a casual conversation that happened 4 years ago. So it's just like, yeah, she's like, yeah, I'll do your movie. Just like send me the script and we'll look it over. But she didn't do that. She's just like, okay, you're in my movie. And so when they called her about like a costume fitting, she's like, what are you talking about? No, I can't do that. And she was sued because she couldn't do the movie since it was conflicting with Charmed. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But Rose McGowan won because obviously she was not given proper, but yeah, scary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I couldn't imagine. She didn't go to the season 7 wrap party, which we did know about, because she was filming the Elvis movie or whatever. So she didn't go, but she did
The Black
record herself
Dahlia.
on Black Dahlia, thank you. But she filmed a video of her that they played at the wrap party, and in the video, I guess she got emotional and was crying. So it made everybody else very emotional. But then afterward, they played a gag reel where she was falling all over and swearing. So it made everybody laugh. Yeah, she talked about how she was super clumsy, and I believe it.
Yeah.
Because Paige was pretty clumsy already, so Rose being clumsy makes sense.
This just makes me love her more.
Yeah, she's great. She talked about how she had like a chain link fence print on her leg or whatever for like 2 weeks. She got all the bruises.
Yeah.
She brought up Charmed Noir again because they asked, what's your favorite episode? And she's like, yes, I loved Charmed Noir. Absolutely my favorite. Yes. And I hate Nips. Nips just want to have fun so much. I hate it. And she's like, my boyfriend was there. And it was super embarrassing because he was just sitting there behind the camera laughing. Rose also said that Kerr Smith, this made me laugh too. Every time before the kissing scene, he would talk about how much he loved his wife.
She's like,
Like,
it's
hey, you
cool,
know,
I
I'm
have
my
a
wife.
boyfriend.
Yeah, she's like, okay, dude, chill. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I believe at this time she was dating David Zenko, who was like an editor on Men's Health and stuff.
Hmm.
So he was like a editor, publicist, kind of journalist type of person. Because she was like, I could never date an actor because I can't see them kissing people. It wouldn't work.
That made me laugh that she's not okay with it.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, you just have to be a certain type of person that accepts. Because her boyfriend would come home, or she would come home from work. Her boyfriend would be like, "So did you kiss anyone today?" This was also funny. She talked about how Billy Zane came in. And he was super gung ho to be doing the show. He had this insane energy, while everyone else was kind of like dying from exhaustion. They're like, "Okay, yeah, sure, dude." but then by his second episode, he's like, "Yeah, I'm tired too."
Yeah.
And then Rose said that she went on a date with him once, but her friend was much more enamored with Billy Zane than Rose was. She's like, I kind of like him. I think he's handsome, but I don't really love him like that. And then her friend asked Rose to kiss him just for her, like just kiss him for me. And then they asked her if Billy Zane was a good kisser, and she's like, he's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. That's all she said.
Yeah.
Like,
a weird question.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you say? I'm like, was he bad or you just don't want to say? You know, so. But I can see if you're not really into him that way, it wouldn't be good either. So it makes sense.
True.
Yeah, she talked about the rando she kissed in A Witch in Time. She's like, yeah, I had this one guy I was kissing. I didn't just said hello, and then he was off the set before I even knew who he was. So it was super weird. So she talked about how England TV is different than American TV. And then she talked about how Paris, and she talked about this in interviews before too. They always say, Charmed. And then she talked about how she loves making the crew guys laugh, and they always get in trouble for being loud when it was her doing it as the instigator. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, the utterly incredible and completely true story of Tapeball. So this was fun to me too going in because I had only seen like the one picture of Tapeball. I didn't know there were like lots of different faces of Tapeball.
Right.
So it says there is a well-kept secret on the Charm set about a crew member that only the secret society of Charmed knows about. His name? Tapeball. The charmed Tapeball was born on the very first day of season 7 when Charm's sound utility operator Gary Boatner, i.e. me, started collecting the tape
Fabian.
used Fabian on set by Charm's camera and sound departments. Basically, when the charmed actors rehearse a scene, tape marks are placed on the floor to illustrate their positions. Alyssa's tape color is pink, Rose's is light blue, Holly's is orange, Brian's is green, and Dorian Gregory's is red. The tape allows the actors to get an idea of where the director would like them to go in a scene. Anyway, after the crew was done with each shot, Gary began rolling up the pieces of tape off the floor and collecting them together. Thus, Tapeball was born, and the Powerpuff Girls were born! As the season went on and Tapeball got bigger and bigger, Gary began to notice that he was gaining a personality of his own, and not just one of them. There was a lady Tapeball. She's so gorgeous. If I was a Tapeball, I would totally date her. There was also Gangster Tapeball, Scary Tapeball, and Yankee Tapeball. Gary also noticed that whenever a guest star came on the Charm set, they were immediately drawn to Tapeball. They even started asking to have their pictures taken with him. Tapeball's celebrity friends included Billy Zane, Charisma Carpenter, Levar Burton, and Nick Lachey. Due to his overwhelming popularity, Gary decided that Tapeball was to be grown for the entire season. Tapeball would then be auctioned off to the highest bidder, together with the autographed pictures after the season 7 wrap party. All proceeds would go to charity. And there's also Collective Soul and John Delancey. All was going swimmingly until the Charm cast and crew returned from their Christmas hiatus and discovered, to their horror, that Tapeball was missing. 1 week later, they received the following. Tapeball, it seemed, had been kidnapped by a dangerous terrorist faction. Was this the end for Charm's most rotund crew member? And yeah, there's this whole letter. Do you want me to read the whole letter? Do you want me to
Yeah,
read it?
do it.
I'm gonna make it in a scary voice too. Your beloved Tapeball is alive and being held at a secret location. Make no attempt to find or follow us. It would be most dangerous and futile. Your feeble little brains cannot comprehend the power and force of purpose you face. Our demands will be made known to you shortly. Make no attempt to contact the authorities. That will only lead to tragedy for all concerned. Followers of the Golden Path.
Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Crazy. Weeks
The
passed
games.
and no news. Huh?
The games they play.
Yeah. Weeks passed and no news aside from this disturbing photo. The Charmed cast and crew were frantic with worry. But then, out of the blue, on the very day Julian McMahon returned to the Charmed set to shoot scenes for the show's 150th episode, Tapeball returned. Was it a coincidence that Tapeball returned on the very same day that the former source of all evil visited the set? Who could say? One thing's for sure. The Charmed cast and crew were pleased to see him, especially the girls. And showrunner, fuckface Brad Kern. And me, Gary, and the Sound Boys. What a happy story. And then there's like,
Yeah.
as for
All the
Tapeball, he
pictures.
was just happy to be back with all his friends. And there's pictures of like all the cast and crew working with
Everybody.
Tapeball. Mm-hmm.
Super cute. Super cute.
Super cute.
I do have some fun factoids about Tapeball. He did appear in one episode on screen. Do you remember which one?
He was a toy in Wyatt's room, and it was Imaginary Fiends.
Yes, in the classroom.
Oh,
Yeah. Look at you.
look at what you're doing to me.
I think you know more about Charmed than Buffy at this point because of all the stuff we've been
I was
doing.
just thinking that too.
I know. Also interesting, after the series ended, Tapeball was in fact sold on eBay. But a few months later, the guy that bought that Tapeball sold them on eBay again. And the winning bidder of that eBay thing left a negative feedback on it because there was the sale said that it had been lost in transit. The seller said the ball was gone.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
So nobody knows where Tapeball ended up. It's interesting.
Did the second
It's kinda-
buyer get their money back at least?
I would hope so, because yeah, he'd be like, because I can imagine like the seller's like, I'm going to sell this, but then you keep it and then just take the money, like something douchey like that. But eBay has protections against that, so they would have, come after the seller if they did that.
Yeah.
Hi.
So my Amazon literally just got here. I was hoping it would come while we were recording. This is my new Hermes necklace.
Ooh. How
Yeah, it's like a
pretty.
coin with like Hermes on it.
That's
Okay.
awesome. I love it. Magic.
Magic.
Okay. Magic. So the next section is Prince Charming. We have another interview with Brian Krause. And it starts off, he's kind of like being interviewed while his son, 9-year-old Jamin, is sitting around on set.
I've never heard that
playing-
name before.
Yeah, Jamin. I actually met Jamin at a convention. He was at one of the 90s cons. And he's such a little, he kind of gives you like the stoner vibe. I don't know if he is or not, but he kind of gives you that stoner vibe.
That's fine.
He's pretty neat. He's pretty cool. He's friends with other people that I know, and so he's just kind of got accustomed. And this was before his accident. He got hit by a car sometime last year, and he was in the hospital for a long time, which was scary. But
Ooh.
yeah, Jamin, Brian Krause's son. Fun. So it's interesting. So here there's this little conversation of which I'll read. So Jamin listening curiously to his father's conversation with a reporter, and on occasion chiming in whenever something piques his interest, such as Krause's mentoring on the episode last season when Leo had amnesia and couldn't remember who he was or where he came from. Dad, you had amnesia? Asks Jamin while defending the Force. Yeah, answers Brian. When? Last season. Actually, Leo had amnesia, not me. Oh, what happened? Well, TiVo it. Tell me what happened. Did you eat rotten cheese? No, I had a spell put
So
on me.
random.
That's so funny. He's like, what kind? I'll tell you a little later all about it. What about the cheese? So that's a cute little like window into that time.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he's sunburnt right now during this interview because he's like, yeah, I'm dumb. I didn't put sunscreen on. I was probably out golfing and I got sunburnt. And then he's always nervous about Leo being cut out of the show. That's something that is kind of every season. But he does think that this will be Leo's last season, even if the show goes on. So he's just prepared to make his exit. Because at this point in time, they do know that he would be gone for 10 episodes. They do know that they had to make a deal with the WB to have him on it that long. So going into season 8, they kind of already knew.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why he's kind of on this like more tragic, sad mood vibe right now. And he feels that at this stage, Leo doesn't really offer much to the show except for wisdom and support because he's a human. He can't really do anything. He has to he has all this magic knowledge, but it's just he realizes his role has been limited. And there's a big part of him that isn't living the magical lake with them anymore. So he's like, sad.
Okay, so now we're on, finally, they've been teasing it for a while. We're on Make Your Own Book of Shadows.
Yeah.
And they give us like this little crafty thing. It's kind of cool the way they do it, like because it looks like they take into account the fact like the first page and the last page and like filling in between the way books work. So we have on the first right page we have the Book of Shadows like cover page, and then Alchemist Tools on the other side of that, and then inside we have this book is the property of, which would be the next, and then we have the Power of 3 spell.
Is not accurate, canonical.
Yeah, that's not canonical.
Right.
And then we have the Balthazar Vanquish potion and the Blazing. What is that? Alembic? Nembic?
Alembic.
Blazing Nembic.
Yeah. That's all the alchemist tools. That's the other part of the alchemist tools.
Okay. And Mutator, the aggressor.
Yeah.
And then to summon Balthazar, and Balthazar, the page on him, which I've always liked that drawing of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So it's going to give a few pages in every magazine until you have a full Book of Shadows.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I don't remember, because obviously they don't have as many as, the actual show. They don't give you everything, but they do give you quite a lot, from what I remember correctly. So
Cool.
So now, Sean, we are at our Grimoire game, and it's going to be a little bit different this issue.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire Games!
Some people think this is entertainment.
It's which. So it says we all have our favorite charmed character, but which charmed one always comes top on your list? Which do you most identify with? Yeah, is it the fun-loving Unlucky and Lerv? Unlucky and Lerv. Does it say that?
Does it say that? It does say that. That's fine.
I've been unlucky in love. What if we made that our song? Oh my gosh. Phoebe, the quirky and compassionate Paige, or the adorable and practical Piper. Then again, perhaps it's their beloved Grams or motherly Patty who gets your vote. Whichever which you have a soft spot for, just answer these simple questions, make a note of your answers, and you'll soon find out which charmed one you are. Okay, should I make a record of this? How am I gonna do this? I have to write this down. Okay.
All right. First off, we have, what's your idea of the perfect date? A, being wined and dined at an exclusive fancy restaurant. B, a delicious home-cooked meal, a nice bottle of wine, and watching a good film on TV. C, dancing the night away in a cool and trendy club. D, a walk in the park followed by a romantic picnic. Or E, it's been a while since I dated, so I really can't remember. Uh-oh, Alan just came home and I'm talking about dating. Now he's on to me.
Oh no. I'm gonna choose B for that one.
I'm going to choose D.
Okay. Are you keeping a record of it?
Sure, I can.
You should write
so
it
just
down.
of my answers?
Yeah, write it down. Yeah. So then we
Okay.
can look at the end and see what we are. So question 2, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Trying desperately to find the perfect partner. Ugh. Like crazy. Okay. Cooking and cleaning. Shopping and spending time catching up with your friends. Chilling out, reading or listening to music. Don't really have much spare time. I'm going to say D for that one.
I'm going to say D as well.
Yeah.
What's your favorite item of clothing? Something that highlights your best ass. Anything that's comfortable and practical. C, forget clothes. Shoes are my thing. D, something glamorous and eye-catching. Or E, I don't pay much attention to what I'm wearing.
Mine is A, highlighting my assets, my boobages and arms and butts and assets.
Mine is B, just something comfortable and practical.
Okay. 4, if the world were to end tomorrow, what would you spend your last hours doing? Partying and having a really good time, A. B, spending time with family and friends. C, in bed, sleeping. D, meditating and generally preparing for what's to come. E, trying to make amends for past mistakes.
I would say B. I want to see my loved
I'd
ones.
say B. Yeah, B.
Which of these descriptions best describes you? Fun, flirty, friendly, and free-spirited. Practical, sensible, and hardworking. Quirky, kind-hearted, and impulsive. Romantic, idealistic, and open-minded. Are stubborn, opinionated, and secretive. I'm going in
gonna
between
say-
two because they're so similar.
Yeah. I'm going to say C for me.
Okay, then I'll say A. I was going between A
Okay.
and C.
Okay, question 6. If you had to choose a type of television show to watch, what would it be? Reality and fly on the wall type shows? B, cookery programs. Cookery programs?
Cookery.
I don't think that's the proper term. C, documentaries. I say documentaries. Documentaries. D, romantic dramas. E, I don't really watch a lot of television. The E's are bothering me. The E's are just like, I don't do that. I don't have any. Like, I don't know why the E's make me mad. Okay,
Do you think E is grams?
probably C. I guess for me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do love myself a documentary, but also I don't like these options. Like, these don't cover lots of different types of
No.
shows.
Right. Like a lot of these, I wouldn't choose. If I had the option to watch anything, I wouldn't watch really any of these. You know, I'd watch a movie or something, or
Yeah.
or a fantasy series or something like that, like Charmed.
There you go. What's your take on relationships? A, love sucks. B, you've made a few mistakes but have finally found the one. C, who cares if you can't find the one? Just have fun. D, there's someone out there for everyone, so don't give up. E, you'd rather not think about them.
I'm C for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll say B for me.
Okay.
Because it's hard for me because, like, there's for me and then there's what I think for other people. So I don't know if I
Right.
should choose for me
Right.
specifically, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Exactly. Okay. Number 8. Describe your ideal partner. A, drop dead gorgeous with a dangerous edge. B, cute, loyal, and dependable. C, someone who can make me laugh and is spontaneous. D, my soulmate. E, I'm a bit too old for relationships. Definitely Grams. I'm going to say B for that one.
I'm going to say C.
Okay.
All right. And then next we have, if you won the lottery, how would you spend your winnings? A, buy a flashy car and a swanky apartment. B, share it between friends and family. C, clothes in her, more clothes. D, invest it for the future. Or E, you wouldn't buy a lottery ticket in the first place. I hate this E bitch.
I mean, that one I don't really play the lottery, so I might pick that one. But this is saying if you did win, like this is saying if you did buy a ticket. So I'm gonna skip that. I would say B.
I'd
No,
say D.
not B. No, D. That's what I meant to say. D.
Okay. I was like, wow, you're
Yeah.
really nice.
No, D. Yeah. So 10. What would be your perfect job? A, writing for a newspaper or magazine. B, running your own nightclub. C, social worker. D, being a parent and raising a family. E, something that involves making the world a better place. I'm gonna say A.
I said A.
Yeah.
Okay, and my thing closed out again. There we go. Okay, last one. What's most precious to you? A, your little black book. B, good health. C, having a good time and living life to the max. D, friends and family. Or E, your memories. I'm gonna go D. I know who I am.
D. Oh, this is hard. Because friends and family. But a lot of my memories include family and friends. I guess friends and family, because the people better have them there. So D. Okay. So what do I have? What does mine look like? I guess I should count. Which one is the most? 1, 2. I have 3 Ds. I have 3 Bs. And I have 3 Cs. And so how do I choose?
Yeah, mine's clear cut. I have 4 Ds.
Okay. Well, you do yours first. What's yours?
Okay, so I am Patty. You're fun, warm, and gentle. You can be a bit of a born warrior, but it's only because you have a very caring nature. You're a firm believer in love and romance, but sometimes you can be a little naive. Go back to my whole speech about remembering that Hermes is hermetic.
So I guess I won't pick D since you got D. I know B is Piper and C is Paige, so I'll read those. So mostly B's. You are Piper, practical, sensible, and nurturing. You're a very down-to-earth individual and a born mediator. You're admired for your optimism, honesty, and inner strength. Both mature and responsible, friends and family are the most important thing in your life. And then mostly C's. You are Paige, impulsive, playful, and fun-loving. You're independent and like doing your own thing. You have something of a stubborn streak, but you've got a heart of gold, and you always try to help others, even at your own expense.
I feel like that describes me more than Patty, but I think I have a little Paige and Patty.
Yeah. Next is Barbas. We have Barbas Unleashed, and it says name Barbas, occupation demon of fear. Like he gets paid for this. Vanquished, 1999, 2000, 2002, 2004, and question mark.
Did he come back
is-
again in season 8? He didn't, did he?
No, season 7 was the
Okay, I
last.
didn't think so.
Yeah. And Phyllis Ungerleider wrote this one. And I feel like this profile seemed to be much more proficient than others. Like there was almost like an analysis incorporated, which I don't know if that's just because it's Barbras, but I have a feeling Phyllis is just like on it, like she knows her Charmed. So I thought I really appreciated this one. She really gave a beautiful character history. I'm not going to get into it, but she really gave a nice summary of everything. And she says that he requires close proximity to his victims to kill them, unlike other demons who can just like shoot projectiles. He is almost gleeful about being a demon who takes joy in seeing his victims suffer. So that's another like scary part to him. He can't be vanquished, and he is thirsty for revenge. Like before, he was fine with just coming back every 1300 years, but after the Charmed ones dissed him so much, he was so angry and he wanted revenge so badly that he just kept trying to find ways to escape. He has powers of reading fear, vocal impressions, and glamoring. He's got lots of really cool moments. Prue learning to overcome her fear, and Piper keeping Barbas on ice until midnight in Ms. Hellfire, and Astro Barbas stealing Cole's powers. And then there's some quotes, but I'm disappointed they didn't put "You can't run, you're frozen in fear." They didn't put that in here. That seems like a waste.
Mm-hmm. Next on Classic Charmed, we have Relive the Magic of Valhalley of the Dolls. Season 6, episode 152. Oh, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. That's an and. This aired September 28, 2003, January 8, 2004 in the UK. Oh, yeah, that's something else that Rose talked about, how the UK didn't air Charmed for so long because apparently they're against witchcraft. So it was like one of the last places to air it, which is weird.
Which is so strange considering like most modern Wicca originated in the UK.
Yeah, and like the Golden Dawn and all that stuff originated there too.
Yeah.
So this just talks about the episode a little bit, gives us little blurbs about it. This is of course where they go to Valhalla. And then Melissa George starred in it too. It gives us Did You Know? Featured music includes Smash Mouth and Balgomingo featuring Lucy Woodward.
Balgomingo? Yeah.
Balgomingo. Okay. Whatever you say. Yeah. The WB used the promo title Valkyrie Vixens. Okay. And Evan Marriott found fame by appearing on the reality TV show Joe Millionaire. He has also appeared as himself on Mad TV and The Simpsons. I remember you told me he was in it. I remember that.
Yeah.
This was our first episode together for
it was
with the Halliwells.
I know. It's like the start of something new. The start of
I remember like if you listen back to it, we were so nervous. We didn't have like our banter down. We didn't have anything down. We just like rushed through it.
Yeah.
Well, we've come a long way, baby.
We have.
All right. Reasons to watch. It's Charmed meets Xena. There's lots of girls kicking butt, not to mention skimpy leather outfits. Phoebe's got a cute new haircut and a cool new power. It turns out she's an empath, which means she's able to sense what others are feeling. This includes a lot of lust coming from her boss, Jason. Leah looks cool as a warrior and could no doubt give Russell Crowe a run for his money in the gladiator stakes. It's a relief to find out that he's alive and kicking after the events of last season. Chris may be cute, but he's being so shifty. We wouldn't trust him as far as we could throw him. Hands up, who couldn't help cheering when Chris was getting his butt kicked by Leah? He so deserved it. Why is this written by Cher Horowitz from Clueless?
He so deserved it.
He so deserved it. Paige attempting to have some kind of a normal life outside of being a charmed one. Her trying to hold down a normal job is a hit. Particularly her dog walking and being stuck with a rather randy K9. Randy, baby, randy.
So the next section is location. And it says, over the next 6 issues, Charmed set designer Paul Stahelli will be guiding us through some of the show's best-loved sets. And this issue, we're doing the Halliwell Manor ground floor. But then it says words by Phyllis Ungerleider. So Phyllis wrote the whole article because clearly the person who wrote this article was very much a fan of Charmed. There's one part that Paul talked about in the beginning where he did part of the interview. And he says that the entire house is what Stahelli says is a simulacra, which is an imitation of something for which there is no original. And that's scenery. So this is an imitation of a non-existent Victorian house. Although it was inspired by the real house in LA, it's changed significantly enough that it is kind of like brand new. So that's kind of something to note.
Yeah.
Dean Mitzner was the original production designer for Charmed. And the Victorian home interiors all came from his mind. And Paul's like, no, I'm not going to touch that. This is something that, it has to be a staple. So it was really cool that they didn't, unless there was like some kind of like technical thing they have to change to make the scene work. But pretty much everything stayed the same since season 1. And then they talked about how the flowers on the table are very convincing silk. And we talked about the landing and the foyer and the parlor room and the sitting room and the living room and the conservatory, sunroom, solarium, all the names that can go. They said that the sunroom is the place where most of the cast and crew chill out when they're not in use. So this is like our break room. And there's some really nice pictures of the set, like really cool, high quality, like just empty rooms, and it is really nice to see. Yeah. And they said
Very
that
nice.
next issue will be going upstairs, which isn't really upstairs at all.
Yeah, it's a lie.
She casually mentions many a Charmed happening as they went through like the rooms, and that was very clever and very clear, a fan thing. So I liked it a lot. So thank you, Phyllis.
I know. I think I like this Phyllis Ungerleider. I just don't like her last name.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we get kind of a double feature. We get a talk to Levar Burton, and then we get a talk to John de Lancey, which they were both on Star Trek. So this was very much a Trekkie section.
Yeah.
So LeVar Burton's here because he, after acting, he went more towards directing, and it talks about how John, how come I can't remember his last name?
Delancey?
John, no,
Or Don?
Jim Conway.
Oh, Jim Conway. There you go.
So I guess Jim Conway worked on Star Trek, so he knows a lot of cast and crew from Star Trek, and a lot of cast and crew from Star Trek actually came over to Charmed. So he has actually been friends with LeVar for a long time, and so he's the reason why LeVar got to do the episode Extreme Makeover World Edition as director. And they kind of asked LeVar, like, was it weird coming onto set? Did you have issues, like, fitting in, basically? And he's like, no, because I kind of know everybody from Star Trek. So,
yeah, it's like the same crew, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like nepotism in a way, but in this type of industry, like, you're going to see that a lot because you have to know, like, be comfortable with people and, like, know that you can work with them and know that they're good at what they do. So it makes sense that you would, word of mouth is huge.
Yeah.
So I guess LeVar talks about how it's hard because directing an episode of a show, you have to have like 5 weeks set aside. So they had been wanting to have him direct for a while, but he just didn't have that 5 weeks at the same time that they would need him. So it finally worked out in season 7 when it was almost over, luckily. Yeah. And he said he had a lot of fun directing because of the crazy stuff that happens in Charmed. He's a fan of the show. He's a fan, just like everybody else, because they're sisters first, which is second. He likes seeing the dynamics with them. So I got a very fangirl vibe from him. I really do believe he watches the show too.
Yeah. It's weird that they didn't mention Reading Rainbow. They had Roots and Star Trek, but they didn't mention Reading Rainbow. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Like,
I was even going to ask, like, that was him, right?
Yeah. And he did direct 2 more episodes in season 8. He directed Battle of the Hexes and The Torn Identity. So he came back, which is nice.
Fun. And then we get John de Lancey. So he came over to the show the same way. He knows Jim Conway.
Yeah.
And of course, we got him as an elder. He was Odin. And then on Star Trek, he's most known for being Q. So it's funny because he goes into this like whole thing about like, had he known Q would be as popular as he is today, would he have played it any differently? And I'm like, well, of course you wouldn't have. Of course you're going to go in there and do as best as you can. Because if he did any different, he probably wouldn't be as popular as he is today.
Right.
Like, so yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get a whole lot out of this one. He just kind of talks about his past, about how he never expected for Q to be so popular. And he said that Odin feels less powerful than Q.
Yeah, Odin feels older and less powerful than Q. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know Q enough to like speak on that. I've never watched
Yeah, I don't.
Star Trek.
Me neither. So
I've
know.
tried. I tried watching from the beginning, the old episodes, and I was like, not for me.
Yeah. One thing that John Delancey said kind of frustrated me a little bit. Because he said that he sees Odin as a stern mentor, but he likes the people he's dealing with. I didn't get that at all. He was just an asshole the entire way through. Like, I don't know what he's seeing.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, okay. Like, sugarcoating your character.
Yeah.
Then we have the top 10 Charmed Vanquishes. So we have 10 is Barbas. And it's weird. They don't tell you. They say the episode, they say who gets vanquished, but they don't just list it. They have like this weird like paragraph about it. So
yeah, they say it sometimes, but yeah, I didn't like that too. I noticed that.
10 is Barbas. 9 is Shax. 8 is Abraxas. And then 7 was Matthew Tate. They just said, who gets vanquished? You'd think warlocks would know better than trying to steal the Charmed's powers, but oh no, to prevent another vile warlock getting his evil. I'm like, okay, you're just beating around the bush here. Just say his name.
Yeah, and I knew who it was, but I was like, why aren't you telling me?
Yeah. 6 is Jeremy. 5 is the Titans? Question mark. Yeah, the Charmans faced against the Titans. 4, we have the fake Vanquish in Sleuthing with the Enemy, where she pretends to vanquish Balthazar. And then we have 3, the Source in Charmed and Dangerous, so that vanquishing, not anything after. 2 is Cole, and this is the one, his final vanquish in Centennial Charmed. And then 1 was Zanku. So that's the list for vanquishes.
Would you agree with this list?
I feel like the vanquishing in Long Live the Queen of Cole would have been more appropriate than the Centennial Charmed one. I know they made the Centennial Charmed one like this big epic thing, but to me it didn't feel as real because the sisters weren't really there together. The real sisters weren't really there together in one spot. So it felt almost like a cheat.
Yeah, I don't like that too. It was a cheat.
Yeah.
And the real Phoebe should have been a part of it.
Yeah, right.
But I'm glad Cole wasn't first for once. That was a nice little treat.
It was nice. Like, hey, Zanky, finally taking the cake. Now we have Ask Brad. Was there anything in here that kind of struck you at all?
Not really. It's just a lot of questions about Kaylee.
Yeah, I wrote down a few notes. He talked about how he didn't have a break because he was constantly coming up with ideas for season 8 and hiring new writers. So, well, because they got told so late in the game, he's like, and so many people found new jobs, so they quit. So he had to get new people, which is pretty crazy. This was interesting to me, too. He says that he literally had to pitch his case with the WB execs in order to get renewed. Yeah. So they didn't just say, hey, they had to like go in and say, this is what we have to offer. Like David Gianolari, I guess, he says, what can you offer me, Brad? What did you have? And he was like, we had to do the Dog and Pony show. And it worked. He's like, okay, I'll keep you on.
Yeah, that made me mad too, because like he has 7 seasons. You have 7 seasons to look at. This is what I've done. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and apparently Kaylee was the first person that they looked at for Billy, so they didn't really see anybody else. They saw her and like, oh, okay. Like you could tell that she really wanted to do the show. She seemed very excited about doing the show, because I guess you can tell with some actors, they're shopping around, they're just doing the things to see what's out there, but she was like, no, I love Charmed, I want to do Charmed. So that's kind of cool that she had that excitement. Oh, and then he said he named a demon after a guy he didn't like, which I was like, oh my god. It's like,
well, the weird part
and then he sent him the clip.
Yeah, that's the weird part. He like mailed him the clip of him getting vanquished, and I'm like, that's an extra level.
Yeah, are you sure you're not the bad guy, Brad? Are you sure you're not the bad guy?
Yeah, because like Wes Craven named Freddy Krueger after his high school bully, and I've named characters after a bully, but I don't go out of my way to like contact them to be like, hey, look, I named them after you and you got killed.
I know, that's just so petty.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And like, did you get a response from him? No. Like, yeah, why would I, give you the satisfaction?
Yeah.
Asshole. So yeah, that's all I had for him.
Okay. I'm gonna name a
I
character
know.
after Brad Kern and kill him and then send it to Brad.
Right? So this issue, Show and Spell, that I didn't think any of the letters were that exciting. I mean, there's some poems and there's some stuff, but nothing was really that good. I guess Trump card, which I was very much triggered when I heard the word Trump.
Yep.
But I guess Trump card is a UK game of some kind. I don't know what that is. But somebody made cards for the game that were Charmed themed. And then there's a lady, a 55-year-old grandma, talked about how much she loved Charmed. I guess Far and Away. Where's that one? That was the most interesting. Want to read that one, Sean?
Sure. I live in the Middle East in Oman, and nothing of Charmed is sold here. I have ordered books and DVDs from the internet and posters too, but I can't find the magazine to order. I got your address from a website. I love Charmed. I'm so fascinated by this show. In fact, I created my own book of shadows. Please let me know what you think. Kais Al from Lawadi, Muscat, Oman.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really cool that it, made it all the way over there and became so popular all over the world. And I feel their pain when things don't come here. There's certain UK specific merchandise that I could not get. The second part of, the third part of this season, when we do the DVD magazines, those were from a UK exclusive DVD set. I had to like scrape and search the internet and scour and to get somebody to sell them to me. So yeah. And then there was a Charmed birthday cake, Book of Shadows cake. Although the triquetra is canonical because they just printed out a picture from an angle that doesn't fit the angle. It's fine.
It's fine.
And how do you feel about the pictures, the gallery?
Let's see.
Look at the top one, Sean.
Yeah. I really like the style of it with the writing, but Rose looks a little sus. She doesn't have a chin.
Well, but the thing is, what's exciting about it, they drew a Shadow of the Sphinx. They drew the Shadow of the Sphinx book.
Oh, I see it. I see it now. That is Shadow of the Sphinx.
The novel, which was the episode you came on in the novel
fun.
season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the whole back of the book was literally the words from the back of the book. She wrote them all out.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, it's like a person reading the book. That's fun.
Yeah. So, I like this cool little like sandcastle rock formation in the sand. That's pretty neat. The triquetra.
They don't know, but they summoned a demon by building that. But hey, it's cool.
The craft. I mean, and this poor spirit board. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you, but
they're really trying to sell it.
And,
oh, that's not the one for sale. That's one that somebody made. Wow.
Yeah. But if I was a kid, I would think that was amazing. So
it looks like a T-bone steak.
It does.
So, okay, real quick, you mentioned Trump and how it's triggering. Just real fun, real quick. I don't know if you've heard, but The Simpsons have made a few episodes in the past that have like predicted things that have come true.
You're right.
And apparently there's this lost episode that Trump, or a president that looked just like Trump, gets impeached and then also has a heart attack and dies in August of 2025. And it's reported that he is having chest pain and impeachment is already coming up against him. So it may be happening.
Oh my gosh. Please let this be true.
I know. And I feel bad. I've never been excited for someone to die, but he's just such a horrible person and he's ruining our country.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just want to share.
So this is pretty much the issue. I think this was actually pretty great. It was funny, smart, and informative. I feel like it was like a step up for the magazine, which I liked.
Yeah.
I have put that in my canonical hat.
Canonical.
There's only a few this time around. One is Rose said that Phoebe, when she was talking about the Witch in Time, the guy she kissed, she said that Phoebe passed her on the couch, but it was actually Piper in the episode. So just her misremembering. There was an anecdote in the location. Oh, it said, Andy, Dan, Cole, Jason, Richard, and even Leo have been seen climbing up and down these stairs. And they show the stairs, in the foyer to the attic and all the bedrooms on the upstairs. But in the article, they're actually referring to the front steps on the porch. So they kind of took that quote and put it somewhere where it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And then in the Ask Brad section, Brad called Lori Rom Elizabeth. He's like, Elizabeth Rom. He didn't even remember her name.
He did. I didn't catch it when I read it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
I was like, oh my God. It's like, did you read Charmed Magazine, like issue 2 or 1, where they kept naming her like 5 million times?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so the last thing on our list today is our P is for poll.
Another P, imagine that.
P is for poll. And the question for next week is, what is the best tape ball look? I'll be posting pictures on the Instagram and the YouTube. But is it regular tape ball, lady tape ball, gangster tape ball, or scary tape ball?
Scary.
Scary? I like scary. I like that they have like a demon holding it too, which is fun. I'm just gonna give regular tape ball because that's the one that is most iconic to me, and that's what I look for and I find. So I'll just say regular tape ball.
Fine.
But I do like that he can put on costumes.
Yeah, it's cute.
Cool. So next issue 8, we'll be talking about Holly Unveiled. Holly Marie Combs chats exclusively about her hopes for the season and motherhood, men, and magic. We have an officer and a gentleman. Dorian Gregory reflects on life as the adorable Daryl Morris. Plus, we disclose Daryl's best moments. And then we have Hex in the City. Charms hottie Jason Lewis reveals all. Down, girls. And then we get more Book of Shadows pages and Brad Kern stuff and all that stuff. November 22nd, 2005. Ta-da! Issue 7. Woohoo! We did it!
Did I?
So, Sean, where can we find you now?
You can find me on Shawnee Havoc on Instagram or TikTok, or you can find our podcast, Solving for X and X-Men Task Podcast. We just wrapped season 3 of X-Men Evolution, and in about another 2 weeks, we'll be back with season 4 of X-Men Evolution. Good times.
I know, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, and you can find this podcast at Words of the Witches, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Email wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com with all your questions, concerns. And yeah, thank you for listening, Spellworders. We will see you soon. Your destiny still awaits.